This king killed more than 10 million black people and laughed. Are you ready for a bone-chilling story that will leave you in utter disbelief? Have you ever heard of a king with a sinister laugh, not from some comic book, but from the pages of history? This ruthless king killed more than 10 million black people in the heart of Africa, and that's not the end. He even made joke of those deaths. Yes, you heard that right. So let's begin this, one of the darkest stories of history. In the late 1800s, the European nations were in a mad scramble to expand their empires and grab a piece of Africa. The Berlin Conference of 1884 and 85 set the stage for this infamous colonization, with various European powers jostling to stake their claims on African territories. One of the most ruthless and callous players in this colonial game was King Leopold II of Belgium. Leopold II's ambitions were not just about territorial expansion. He craved wealth and control at any cost. He set his sights on the Congo, a region rich in natural resources, particularly ivory and rubber. But to achieve his goals, he unleashed a reign of terror that would haunt Congolese people for generations to come. Leopold II sent a British adventurer named Henry Morton Stanley to explore and map the Congo. Stanley's task was to create the Free State of Congo, a deceptive name for what will become a hellish nightmare for the native inhabitants. But what is the outcome of this evil plan? Let's try to figure it out. Some historians claim that Stanley had no initial intention of harming Congolese people, but the truth is far from that. Stanley and his men arrived in the Congo uninvited and began mapping out the land without the locals' consent. This presence of foreign intruders understandably caused tension and misunderstandings. To make matters worse, Stanley's encounters with the indigenous people turned violent. Faced with resistance from 7 different Congolese tribes, Stanley and his men resorted to gunfire, burning down more than 32 villages and killing countless innocent lives. As if the violent conquest wasn't enough, King Leopold II devised a sinister plan to exploit Congolese population through forced labor. He claimed 2/3 of Congo's land as his own and subjected the native people to slavery under the pretext of rubber harvesting. These indigenous people were forced to toil for meager or no pay, with quotas set so high that fulfilling them was practically impossible. To enforce these brutal quotas, Leopold II's government employed the Force Publique, an army of European mercenaries who acted as a police force, protecting the king's interest. They were ruthless in their approach, recruiting African soldiers and using them to carry out their heinous acts. As if things couldn't get any worse, the punishment for not meeting rubber quotas was maiming or death. The soldiers were ordered to cut off the hands of Congolese workers as a gruesome reminder of their failure. This terror tactic spread fear among the population, further subjugating them to the merciless rule of the Belgians. The consequences of this cruelty were devastating. Disease, malnutrition, and harsh working conditions led to the death of millions of Congolese people. Epidemics like sleeping sickness spread by the tsetse fly claimed the lives of approximately 350,000 people in the Congo alone. The horrors didn't end there. King Leopold II's officers would burn down entire villages if they failed to meet their quotas, killing and enslaving women and children to further exert control over the male workers. The suffering of the Congolese people seemed never-ending, and the international community had to intervene. The shocking reality of what was happening in Congo was not hidden for long. Brave individuals, such as American missionary G.W. Williams, authors Mark Twain and Joseph Conrad, and British journalist Edwin Denis Morel, brought attention to the genocide through their reports and writings. These brave souls uncovered the gruesome truth behind the humanitarian facade that King Leopold II had used to disguise his sinister motives. The evidence of violence, forced labor, and rampant abuse of human rights was undeniable, and the international community could no longer turn a blind eye. In 1905, an investigation commission examined the harrowing reports and evidence provided by missionaries and journalists. The findings were damning, and the world finally woke up to the horrifying reality of Congo's Free State. Governments and people around the globe were outraged by the atrocities committed under King Leopold II's reign. Diplomatic pressure, along with public outcry, led to mounting demands for accountability and an end to the brutal exploitation. Leopold II's rule over Congo was becoming increasingly untenable, and the Belgian government was forced to take action. Facing international scrutiny and the growing specter of condemnation, King Leopold II eventually relinquished direct control of the Congo in 1908. The Belgian government assumed control of the territory, renaming it the Belgian Congo. Many hoped that the transfer of power would signal an end to the horrors that had been unleashed upon the Congolese people. However, the suffering and exploitation did not disappear with Leopold's departure. The legacy of his brutal reign continued to cast a dark shadow over the region. The Belgian Congo era did see some improvements, such as better infrastructure and social services, but the underlying issues of colonialism and exploitation persisted. Congolese people still endured forced labor, economic oppression, and racial discrimination under Belgian rule. It was not until the mid-20th century that Congolese people finally achieved independence. On June the 30th of 1960, the Belgian Congo became the Independent Republic of Congo, later named the Democratic Republic of Congo. However, the country's journey to freedom was tumultuous, marked by political instability, corruption, and foreign interference. To this day, the DRC continues to grapple with the consequences of its traumatic past. The scars of King Leopold II's reign and colonial exploitation run deep, affecting the nation's political, social, and economic landscape. The country's vast natural resources continue to be both a blessing and a curse, with conflict and exploitation over valuable minerals adding to the ongoing challenges faced by its people. The legacy of King Leopold II's brutal reign in Congo is one of pain, suffering, and exploitation. Millions of lives were lost, families were torn apart, and entire communities were decimated in the pursuit of greed and power. The scars left by this dark period of history continue to affect Congolese people to this very day. Even after gaining independence, the Democratic Republic of Congo faced significant challenges, including political instability, corruption, and armed conflicts. The legacy of colonialism had left the country with a fragile state structure, and external interests continue to exploit its rich natural resources. The DRC is home to valuable minerals such as coltan, used in electronic devices like cell phones and laptops. Unfortunately, the extraction and trade of these minerals have fueled armed conflicts in the region, leading to human rights abuses and displacement of communities. Learning from the past is crucial in understanding the root causes of present-day issues. Acknowledging the atrocities committed by King Leopold II and other colonial powers in Africa should serve as a reminder of the consequences of unchecked power and inhumanity. The history of Congo also highlights the importance of raising awareness about human rights abuses and holding individuals and governments accountable for their actions. The international outcry and condemnation of King Leopold II's actions played a significant role in ending his brutal reign. It reminds us that collective action and solidarity can make a difference in challenging injustice and oppression. Additionally, responsible consumption and ethical sourcing of natural resources are essential in breaking the cycle of exploitation. By demanding transparency and fair trade practices, consumers can help ensure that the minerals used in our everyday products do not perpetuate human suffering and environmental degradation. To sum it up, the reign of King Leopold II in Congo remains a dark and haunting reminder of the atrocities committed during the colonial era. The loss of millions of lives and the exploitation of a nation's resources for personal gain is a tragic chapter in human history. As we look back on this painful past, let us not forget the strength and resilience of the Congolese people who have endured and continue to fight for justice and dignity. Their struggle should inspire us to be active participants in shaping a better world where human rights are respected and exploitation has no place. Thank you for joining us on this journey of reflection and learning. Tell us in the comments section what you think about these atrocities. And if you find this video informative, give it a thumbs up, and please do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Let us walk forward together, armed with knowledge, empathy, and a shared vision of a more just and compassionate world. Until next time, take care and let us continue the conversation.